Sufism and Mysticism. A brief introduction. Sufism and mysticism are often used interchangeably, but have different meanings and origins. This article explains the essence of Sufism and mysticism, their ties to Islam, and their resonance across cultures and religions. We also examine the intriguing similarities between Sufism, Buddhism, and Jainism, and gain insight into their philosophies and practices. This comprehensive study sheds light on the profound aspects of mysticism inherent in these traditions. Mysticism in world religions: origins, development, and influences. Mysticism, as a concept, encompasses the pursuit of heightened consciousness and a direct, personal encounter with the divine reality. Originating in the Hellenistic period, this metaphysical concept evolved through the epochs of medieval Christianity and medieval Islam, gradually permeating regions as diverse as the subcontinent and Africa. As mysticism traversed different societies, it assimilated cultural influences, incorporating unique elements from each encounter. It is crucial to distinguish mysticism from any psychotic experiences or mental health conditions such as schizophrenia. As experienced by mystics, we should not inaccurately blend spirituality with pathological phenomena. Mystic experiences are attained through internal practices and profound experiences, emphasizing the deliberate pursuit of a heightened connection with the divine. Human mysticism transcends specific religious or regional boundaries. This philosophical concept can be traced back to the ancient Greek era, when metaphysical discussions emphasized knowing oneself. Ancient Hellenistic, 323 BCE, religion's belief that gods reside inside temples and their longing to attain a vision of these deities gave rise to the concept of spiritual mysticism. The term mystic itself is etymologically derived from the Greek word muo, meaning to close or conceal, reflects the inherently secretive nature of this ancient spiritual tradition. This primitive spiritual tradition incorporated elements of Egyptian mythical thoughts and supernatural concepts intertwined with alchemy and astrology. Greeks employed diverse methods to construct awe-inspiring temples adorned with intricate geometric designs and meticulously selected materials to pursue a spiritual connection with deities. Such architectural marvels provided a conducive environment to intensifying spiritual experience. Oracles, often associated with such sacred sites, were believed to be channels through which divine guidance could be sought. Occasionally, they longed for epiphanies, divine experiences, or celestial journeys, revealing the profound spiritual connection between worshippers and deities. To strengthen this relationship, worshippers performed specific actions, such as rituals, prayers, and offerings, to communicate with their divine beings. Occasionally, the use of hallucinogenic herbs or substances to induce a state of ecstasy was also prevalent. According to Hellenistic religious philosophy, all components of the cosmos are interconnected, and each element has a distinct role. Humans were expected to fulfill their obligations to the gods, and, in turn, the divine entities had a role in shaping and directing human affairs to alleviate suffering and bring happiness. Worshippers considered their priests and priestesses mediators between worshippers and their gods also, granting them high ranks. The human quest for a direct and personal connection with the divine remained a central focus in spiritual exploration. The early metaphysical concept laid the foundation for the subsequent development of mystical traditions. Mysticism in the medieval era. The same concept traversed through medieval Christian spirituality, marked by a belief in God's omnipresence, signifying a shift from visible gods to the invisible God. Christian mysticism often incorporates elements of negative theology, an approach that involves describing God by what God is not, rather than what God is. In other words, this negation acknowledges the incomprehensible aspects of the divine reality and recognizes the divine mystery. The Cloud of Unknown, a classic work of Christian mysticism written by an anonymous author, emphasizes the importance of letting go of intellectual understanding and entering a state of unknowing to encounter God on a deeper level. This concept is observed in the later stages of mysticism. This profound letting go of intellectual constraints aligns with the later stages of mysticism found in Buddhism, Jainism, and Islam. Christian mysticism, characterized by the extensive writings of many mystics, detailing their divine experiences. These writings offer guidance for followers on how they can transform their divine love into a powerful force through contemplative prayer and meditation, key methods among Christian mystics to achieve unity with God. In contrast, Buddhism takes a different approach. It does not guide achieving spirituality or adhering to any doctrines. Instead, Buddhism believes that mystic experience is personal and subjective and cannot be taught. Mysticism in Islam. Sufism. Mysticism, a general term, takes a specific form within Islam known as Sufism. Islamic Sufism incorporates the previous concept of mysticism, characterized by direct communication with God. Nevertheless, Islamic Sufis maintain the belief that communication with God is attainable through love for Prophet Muhammad. This belief has evolved, giving rise to the idea that such communication is achievable through a pious Sufi, whether living or deceased, who maintains a spiritual connection with Muhammad. In Shia Sufism, Ali, Hussein, and Fatima are included in this spiritual lineage. Before diving further into the discussion on Sufism, it is crucial to examine an incident that occurred in Iraq approximately 200 years after the Prophet's death. Mansur Hallaj, a Persian Sufi and poet, faced execution for proclaiming Ana al-Haq, I am the truth. On philosophical grounds, he asserted the extreme idealism of self-annihilation, ego, known as fana, in pursuing God, reaching the height where a believer becomes superhuman, a god himself. Mansur Hallaj's utterance, I am the truth, was interpreted literally and considered one of the most theopathic expressions in the entire Sufi world. This philosophy was deemed blasphemous during a time when Iraq was under the influence of the Umayyads, challenging Arab elitism and the orthodoxy of these caliphates. In contrast to the Umayyads' focus on military expansion, the Abbasids favored the expansion of knowledge and translated Greek, Persian, and Indian works into Arabic during the Abbasid period. The Golden Era of Islam, spanning the 10th to 12th centuries, witnessed flourishing scientific and philosophical ideas. Muslim philosophers and theologians revisited Greek philosophies, leading to a clash between theology and philosophy in Baghdad, the center of learning at that time. This intellectual struggle gave rise to doctrines such as Wahdatul Wujud and Wahdatul Shahud. Avicenna, also known as Ibn Sina, 980–1037, a renowned Islamic philosopher and physician, embarked on a quest to establish the existence of God by introducing metaphysical elements into discussions surrounding Islam and the divine. His approach, suggesting that God is an abstract form and that eternity existed before God, was notably influenced by Neoplatonism, a philosophical system appreciated by scholars in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam during that era. However, Ghazali, Ibn Sina's counterpart and the head of Nizamiya University in Baghdad, criticized Avicenna's utilization of metaphysical abstract concepts concerning the existence of God. Ghazali, in contrast, adhered to Aristotelian philosophy, asserting that God encompasses both the idea and the living being. Al-Ghazali perceived Ibn Sina's notions as heretical and disbelieving. Ghazali's own spiritual and intellectual crisis led him to leave his teaching position, embark on a pilgrimage to holy places, adopt an ascetic lifestyle, and engage in extensive writing. Among his approximately 40 works are notable titles such as Incoherence of the Philosophers, Revival of the Religious Sciences, and The Alchemy of Happiness. In his final book, The Alchemy of Happiness, Al-Ghazali aimed to provide a middle way in the discussion surrounding Wahdatul Wujud, the unity of existence, where the existence of God is objective, and Wahdatul Shahud, the existence of God is subjective, occurring only in the mind of the believer. He proposed a 4-stage purification process. The first stage involves purification from bodily discharges, followed by purification from crimes and sins, then purification of the heart from blameworthy and vile thoughts, and finally, purification of the inner self from everything except God. In essence, Al-Ghazali advocated blind trust in God and the Prophet without questioning, while allowing worshippers to follow their own paths to God. Al-Bukhari has reported that Al-Ghazali mentioned that singing and playing are not haram, and many Sufis have adopted these to express their mystic feelings and ideas. Al-Ghazali is credited with rescuing Islam from intellectual challenges and providing a nuanced perspective within Islamic philosophy. In our next video, we will delve deeper into Sufism, exploring its presence across various regions and its influence on and by different religions. Additionally, we'll draw comparisons between Zen Buddhism and Sufism. Lastly, we'll examine the relationship between Orthodox Muslims and Sufism.